Welcome to Vignettes with Reddit. If you're new, be sure to subscribe. With multiple daily uploads, you won't want to miss them. Leave a comment with your stories down below.
Jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge AMA, just what it sounds like. I attempted T0 pass by jumping off the bridge and lived. I can't sleep and feel like I've processed the event enough to do this, so ask any interesting or invasive questions you can think of. Edit. This is not intended to glorify suicide, depression, or mental illness in any way. If you are struggling with any of these things, please talk to a loved one, a therapist, a helpline, etc. I encourage everyone to get help because getting treatment was absolutely the best thing I ever did for myself. Edit. I got a bit overwhelmed with the attention this post has gotten. I'm doing my best to answer the questions with an emphasis on the ones that aren't redundant. I appreciate all the love and compassion. If you had died on that day, what have you experienced since then that you would have missed out on? Also, have you gained any new insights after this? Thank you for this question. Honestly, after this I put so much time and energy into recovery and I have gotten so far. I have started going to school for nursing and am in a beautiful housing situation with my best friend. I ended falling in love with myself and the world again, as corny as it sounds. My insights are meditation is really important and therapy should be accessible and available to all. I read an article by someone else who survived the same jump. He said the moment he jumped he regretted the decision. Did you feel the same way? No. I felt immediate relief. That was likely one of the reasons I survived, because my body was very relaxed upon impact. It's kind of fucked up, but thank you for saying this. I'm from the Bay Area and still live here and have had 2 friends take their lives by jumping off the Golden Gate. I think I must have read the same article where the guy said he regretted it right away, and since my friends didn't survive it, I've been haunted by them thinking I shouldn't have done this as their last thoughts. For sure not advocating suicide, but I do hope their last thoughts were similar to yours. I read those articles too and it was really hard for me to hear and really made me feel like I wish I had succeeded. I was at peace when it happened though. Now I am grateful for my life. I am so sorry for your loss and am sending love and safety to you. You say immediate relief once you jumped. Can you elaborate if you felt any relief upon being picked up by the boat? No. At that point I was too deep in my suicidal ideation and pretty emotionally numb. I didn't really feel much of anything post-impact, though I did know I didn't want to die by drowning. Do you regret jumping? That's kind of a hard one. I try not to regret anything that made me who I am today. I think it was probably necessary for my path to recovery. I do however regret the trauma it caused my loved ones and the fucking medical bills. Fair enough. Glad you were able to wrap your head around it. Good luck. Those fucking medical bills. Since you are in Northern California, I recommend trying Kaiser. I switched to them 5 years ago. My son attempted suicide, survived, early this year, and I braced myself for massive medical bills. Instead, I've paid $500 total. This includes 3 ambulance rides, ER, a week in a psych hospital, about 20 therapy visits, and 3 prescription drugs. He's doing well now. Honest and insightful answer into how far you have progressed. Did you take a breath to hold before impact? How deep did you go? Did you try and swim to the surface? Was it freezing? Once you realized you were alive and underwater, were you afraid of a shark eating you? Ha ha ha, these are so funny. No, it's more like hitting cement. I barely went underwater. I was expecting to lose consciousness at impact, so no, I didn't hold my breath, but it was definitely knocked out of me given the severity of the pain. I assume it was freezing, but I was dissociating a lot. No, I wasn't worried about sharks. Haha, weird. I'd have thought you would go like 30 feet deep and have a long way to swim up. Part of it has to do with how you hit the water, a dive versus a belly flop for example, and how high you fall from. If you hit water fast/hard enough, the surface tension of the water doesn't give way and it is like hitting concrete. The sudden deceleration results in going less deep. If you go deep, it means the water is parted upon your impact, and energy therefore absorbed by the action of the moving fluid. What was so bad in your life that got you to the point of jumping? I am glad that you are feeling better now. It was a number of things. I've struggled with debilitating pain since I was 13 and depression, anxiety, and complex PTSD since I was 15, so that's what the suicidal ideation was. But 2 weeks before, my psychiatrist at the time doubled my antidepressants, very bad idea, which threw me into a manic episode. I ended up dropping my savings on tattoos and then jumping off the bridge in a week. Lamau, my best friend, committed suicide last week. I think he had a bad episode with antidepressants. Can you provide more details on the side effects of them? He was one of the happiest people I knew in life. I am so sorry to hear that. I am sending love your way. Antidepressants are difficult and amazing, and a good psychiatrist is so important. I am particularly sensitive to psychiatric medications and dosage changes, in this case increases, Increase my likelihood of mania. When I don't have any impulse control, I'm a lot more likely to follow through with thoughts I'm already struggling with. While suicide is a small risk of any antidepressant, I don't want to assume to know the situation with your friend. A good psychiatrist is such a game changer. I adore my psychiatrist. She works so well with me and is so open to listening to me. I've had psychiatrists who just didn't give a shit, and this one has changed my life. Thanks for doing this AMA. I fish the rocks and pier along the Fort Point side of the bridge, and I have seen a few people get up on the edge. All but one of them were talked off, but the only one I saw jump did it with no hesitation. The thing I remember about him the most is how relaxed he was as he was falling. He didn't flail, flap his arms, tumble or scream. He was just kind of lifeless until he hit the water. That image has been stuck in my head for 10 years, and I have always wondered why he was so motionless. When you have mentioned in your previous answers that you felt relief when you jumped, now it makes more sense to me. Do you remember flailing your arms or screaming or anything like that? Or were you also motionless? Thank you again for this AMA, and be thankful for your second chance. The guy I watched jump didn't make it. I'm so sorry you witnessed that. That's an awful thing to have to live with. Thanks, but I'll forever be more sorry for that man and his family. Nobody noticed him climbing over but me and this other guy with his kid. After he hit the water, we called 911, and in about 3 minutes the Coast Guard was out there fishing him out. We were on the phone with dispatch the whole time, and dispatch let us know that they pulled him out, but he didn't make it. Just as much as the image of him falling, the sound he made when he hit the water was so distinct. It didn't sound like water. It sounded like he hit a wrestling mat. To this day I can help but think about what was going through his mind as he was climbing over the rail and the safety net. How did the boat come across you in the water? How did they get you on the boat? They saw me when I fell because they were nearby. I'm pretty sure they threw something and then grabbed me, but I don't remember very well. I said a few times in previous answers, but I was dissociating a lot and my memory is spotty. Not up, but the Coast Guard there has a pretty constant boat patrol to pull jumpers out of the bay. It's sad, and I imagine that's a rough job, but obviously it can save a life, so I'm glad they're there.